I got new skates. So these are the new Faction Tactical V1 skates. And they look pretty incredible. So it's been a long time since we've had a new skate company. You know, there's been Mesmer, which is kind of part of Power Slide. There's been Icon, which is kind of part of Power Slide. Then there was them in 2018, I think is when John started. That's the first new skate company that I can think of in the last 5-10 years. So in about 2021, we started hearing rumblings about a new skate company called Faction. So Faction started as a concept that Clark had that, why can't I make my own skate? And I think it's the same question that John had when he started them. Why are we limited to only a few manufacturers and a few companies to create skates? Isn't it possible for somebody else to come up with a new skate company? And Clark did it. So these are the Tactical V1s. This is the first skate from the Faction brand. It is a carbon boot with a skin on the outside. Not sure if it's leather or nubuck or what. It has a plastic cuff, and most importantly, it has a removable liner. So for those of you who have followed the channel, you know that I'm a big fan of carbon skates. I love the responsiveness that you get from carbon, the strength, the thinness, and it's really a great platform to build whatever style of skate you want. You can build something for big wheel, you can build something for aggressive. Carbon is just an amazing material. The negative is that it can be a little expensive. So these cost me $380 on the pre-order. When they're actually shipping, and they're done with pre-orders, they're actually in stock, I think they're gonna be $425 boot only, which is a pricey boot. You could get a plastic boot like an M12 or a Sway for less than $200 boot only. This sole plate was designed by Justin Thursday, who's a good friend. He did a lot of the design work for the core system market. So if you've ever seen any of Justin's replacement walls for the core system, same guy designed this sole plate. What's unique about this sole plate, it just has a very wide heel. So this heel is flat. You can see it comes out to a completely flat end, which is going to be really good for balancing in on sole tricks. It's a bit excessive if you look at it from the top. I'm not sure how it's going to skate. So one of the great things about this sole plate design is that it mounts directly to the boot. A lot of flat sole boots just use the UFS bolts to mount the frame in, and it uses this sole plate as like a sandwich. In this case, the sole plate actually has bolts mounting it to the boot, and then the UFS bolts go into the boot as well. Makes it much more responsive, much more solid. This is the way that sole plates should mount, in my opinion. So inside the boot, removable liner for a carbon boot. This doesn't happen very often. We don't see carbon boots with removable liners. There's only one other carbon boot on the market right now that I can think of. Usually with a carbon boot, the entire boot is the liner, so it's an integrated liner system. But in this case, it is a removable liner. These liners look great. Very puffy up at the heel. It has a neoprene toe, so there's a little bit of wiggle if your foot is a little bit longer. It'll pull out a little bit. I'm usually a big fan of neoprene toes because everybody's foot is a little different. You want to make sure that you get a really good fit. One of the cool things about this setup is they're doing every shell break. So this is a size 44 shell. There's also a size 43 shell. So every size, the 7, 8, 9, 10, they all have their individual shells. The liners are the things that change, rather than most plastic boots where they have 2 sizes for each shell break. These are individual shells. The most important thing is because this is a removable liner, you can customize the fit however you want. So rather than buying an expensive $425 boot and being bummed out that it doesn't fit your feet, you could get this and then swap out another liner. So you could put in an Intuition if it's a little tight. You could put in a crown liner if it's a little loose. You could really customize that fit so you can get a really nice ride. So today I am out at the compound. This is going to be a little different than my normal first impressions video because I'm not used to this place. I did skate here last night. I know that I can skate some stuff here. I'm going to be on the Fitty Fitty Prime frames. These are the Sasha Lopez Prime frames. I've never skated these frames. They're brand new frames, brand new wheels on a brand new boot. So it's going to be a little weird. I promise I will skate these for the next month and see what I think. I'll skate them on all different surfaces, but for today, I'm out here at the compound and I'm gonna give them a roll. All right, so these are the size 44. They are a 28.5 centimeter. They feel good. They feel really good on my feet. It feels like, even with the stock liners, I'm getting a lot of comfortable fit. It's more like a relaxed fit versus something like a Intuition where it's a very responsive fit. There's a lot of cushion in there. I don't know where I am on the shell break. I don't know if this is the high end or the low end of the shell. There's a little bit of room that I can feel inside the carbon. So it's possible that with a thinner liner with an Intuition, you could downsize the size. Not sure, I'll have to measure, but I'm not sure what the recommended shell breaks are. But this feels comfy. But it's a fairly thick liner. So I feel like I have a little bit of room. So if I wanted a more responsive ride, I could probably downsize and get a thinner liner. The heel race is low, very low. So if you are a fan of the K2 Fatty and you like that lean back, these are the skates for you. They feel very low. The only thing giving the raised heel feeling is the insole. That insole isn't super thick. It's maybe 5 mil. Might recommend putting a shock absorber inside the shell. The advantage of this setup is you could bring your own liner and you could put your own shock absorber in so that you can adjust how much forward lean you get. Here it was a lot less than I'm used to. Usually skates have too much forward lean for me. This is the complete opposite. And you can see on those airs, I just kept falling backwards. Usually I'm falling forwards, but yeah, it was very surprising getting on here and jumping the first time. Once I got used to it though, it feels pretty good. I feel like I'm able to get good air. This obviously is a different setup than the skate park at Durham that I usually do my first impressions on. I'll go back there and I'll do all of these tricks over again just so that I can do it on the same obstacles. But there's a nice little incline here that I was able to get some air, able to get my 180. Feels good. Took a bit to get used to, but again, that forward lean is a little different than normal. These soles are wide. There's no getting around it. I think this heel is probably the widest heel that I've skated. It really helps on boxes like this where there's raised coping, you can get over it. I don't have to worry about any locks or slipping off. I just throw my foot up there and, I mean, in the old days you would call it cheating, but I just know that I'm going to lock. I didn't miss a single sole trick, because I knew I had the confidence that I could just throw my foot up there and I wouldn't have a problem. It was a little weird on the back farv because that heel stuck out so much. I actually hit the box on the way up, on the jump up. So in the future, the next run, I had to disaster out to it a little bit more. When I do my back farv, you know, it's just the way that I do it. I get really close to the ledge and I just pick up my feet. Couldn't do that here. I had to jump out to it. No big deal, you know. Took a little adjustment, not a big deal. Back Royale, I was really impressed I was able to do it so quickly. First of all, I'm not super confident jumping out to any object. I don't have a lot of practice with that. So this being on an incline and then a flat, it made it a little bit more difficult for me. But yeah, no problem. Just had the confidence. Coming from the Adapt Stealth, where I have a carbon cuff the whole way up, there's no squish. You really have to lock and fully commit. With these, it's very similar to my USD Carbons, where I've got a plastic cuff. So when I sit down, I lock on and I can squish it a second time. I have confidence that that sole plate is there because it lines up perfectly. And I didn't have any issues, you know. First one's a little wiggly. Second one felt great. Yeah, these are feeling good. This being a new park, you know, I reserve judgment because I'm not used to any of these obstacles. But I feel like I was able to do all of my tricks that I wanted to do. Wasn't able to do all the tricks that I normally do, but the way that this park is, it's pretty intense. If you've ever made it out here, things are bigger than they look like on pictures. Everything is tall, everything is steep, so it's a little bit more intimidating, but I had the confidence to get them done. I think for the next session, I think these liners are good. They're good for me, the way that I skate. The width of these skates, they're fairly wide, and they'll fill your foot really nicely. If you have a wide foot, these are probably a really good option for you. They're roomy. You could definitely downsize if you're kind of on the bubble and put in a thinner liner. These liners are pretty thick, so that will make it a lot more flexible to find the right size. And that's the saving grace of this design, that the liner is removable and the shock absorber isn't built into the skate. So you can customize this fit however you want it to make it fit your foot, however big, however long, however wide your foot is. I think that's really interesting. So next week, I'm going to switch out these shock absorbers, put in a different insole, and put in the USD shock absorbers from my USD 7. I think that's the normal forward lean that I like. And skate them again, see how they feel at a normal park that I'm actually used to. Huge thanks to Clark and all the guys and girls that came out to skate with me this weekend. It was a blast. I do hope to come up to the compound more often. If you are in the Maryland area, or if you are close enough to make the trip, definitely reach out to Clark. You can find him on the Instagram. It's an amazing place to skate, loves company. Be respectful, but it's great to have a community like this. People coming from all around the place, just common goal, go out and have fun. I'm going to skate these for the next month and try different configurations, see what works for me. But yeah, feeling pretty good about them. I think they are definitely good for my feet. They might be good for you. That's the first new skate company that I can think of in the last 5-10 years. Jesus Christ, this coping is so hot. I'm like burning. I gotta keep my toes up. I'll be good. So long as my pants don't catch on fire.